Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this Masters of Horror Season 1 episode review video as part of my current February 2024 series, where I'm taking a look at all 13 episodes from the first season of Masters of Horror. So we're jumping around again based on the DVD collection that I have here. So today we're going to go ahead and review episode 5 from season 1, Chocolat, or Chocolate as it's known. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I can tell you this is going to be a shorter review because this is an episode that I just don't have that much to say about. So just a little FYI there. So it should be an easy watch for you guys. Chocolate is the 5th episode in the first season of Masters of Horror. It originally aired in North America on November 25th, 2005. It was directed by Mick Garris and based on his short story. So basically, the premise is a divorced young man named Jamie, who's played by Henry Thomas, develops artificial flavorings. As his job, he develops artificial flavorings. He begins witnessing and experiencing the sights, smells, and sounds of a woman he's never met, starting with the taste of chocolate in his mouth. Troubled by these sudden experiences, he soon witnesses the woman murdering her former artist lover by stabbing and slashing his chest. So that's basically the premise that gets us going, and then of course he feels the obligation to track this woman down and stuff. He basically falls in love with her. So as far as the cast for this one goes, we have Henry Thomas as Jamie, Lucy Laurier as Catherine, Stacey Grant as Vanessa, Leah Graham as Elaine, and Matt Frewer as Wally. I can never say his last name, but he was the garbage man from The Stand. He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That's where I know him from most, but he's been in lots of things. Matt Frewer as Wally. So yeah, that's the 5th episode from the first season, Chocolate, for my Masters of Horror DVD collection here. Yeah, directed by Mick Garris, who I'll get into here in my review. To be honest with you, this episode didn't do a whole lot for me, and there's a variety of reasons why. But first, I'll talk about the things that I liked about the episode, or the pros for the episode. It is an interesting premise, even though it's not unique in the sense that there have been premises where somebody sees the world through somebody else's eyes or experiences what they experience, those types of things. But I did find it interesting and kind of an engaging mystery, basically, throughout most of this episode. So I'll give him credit there. I also think the performances are pretty good, especially by Henry Thomas as the lead, who I do like as an actor. I think he does a really good job here in getting the viewer on his side to sort of understand what he's experiencing and where he's coming from with some of the decisions that he makes and what he does here. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been as engaged if it wasn't for his performance. There is some nudity once again in this episode, which seems to be a theme of this series. For those of you that like your nudity and horror mixed together. And then finally, I did like the way the narrative is told, with our main character being interviewed or interrogated by the police after the fact, basically at the end of the episode, after everything's taken place. I felt that played well into the mystery, even though he is covered with blood, and obviously we know that some shit went down. I still like that sort of narrative telling of this particular story. So yeah, to be honest with you, it was kind of hard to come up with some pros for this episode. Just not one of my favorite. But getting into my cons, or the things that I didn't like and why it didn't work for me as an episode, I'm going to start with the most obvious one to me, and that's this episode's not horror. It's more of a mystery drama, I would say, romance drama even, but nothing creepy or scary about this episode, really. It lacks the atmosphere of a horror anthology episode that I look for in any series. So that's the biggest con. There's a lot of pointless story beats that by the end of the episode you kind of wonder, what was that necessary, or why did they introduce this character, or why was this involved, when it really had nothing to do with the main plot of the episode. This episode really feels like a filler. There's a lot of filler in this episode compared to the other ones that I've watched so far, which have only been 2. But this is definitely more of a filler. There's a lot more filler narrative going on here in this episode in order to extend the runtime of it. I felt like the story really could have been told in 20 or 25 minutes. And then my other big con I'm just not. If you've watched my channel before, you know that Mick Garris is not my director, man. I'm just not a fan of this guy. And it's kind of the same old story with this episode. He just doesn't have any balls as a horror director. He does just very vanilla. I mean, everything I've seen him do from episodic series to movies, the adaptations he does for Stephen King, well, some of them are okay or decent. It's kind of like this episode. From a technical standpoint, there's nothing really wrong with this episode. He doesn't give me anything to work with. He doesn't give me anything to make me feel like I'm in good, interesting, and not aggressive. What's the word I'm looking for? He's just plain. He's vanilla. That's the best way I can say it. He just doesn't have any balls to him as a director. Not to say that he doesn't have any talent as a director, but I don't know. The vision or whatever he's going for never really works for me in any of his stuff, and that was definitely the case here. Very subdued and standard kind of stuff that we get from Mick Garris. And finally, the whole episode just doesn't come together for a scary, fun experience that I'm going to remember. For me, it just doesn't work, and that's just the reality of it. I don't know how many... There might be a lot of people that really like this episode. It is different. And Henry Thomas's good performance, but I don't know, man. The pacing wasn't great either. This was definitely my least favorite episode. Again, I've only watched 3. I've got 10 more to go. So we'll see how that plays out at the end of the day. But I'm going to give a 6 out of 10 for Chocolate, and I feel like I'm being generous, giving it a 6 out of 10. But yeah, like I said, there's enough there from a technical standpoint and from Henry Thomas that I can't give it any lower than a 6, but I certainly can't go any higher than that. So 6 out of 10 for Chocolate, episode 5 from season 1 of Masters of Horror. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of this episode. Did you like it more than I do, about the same, or even less? Why or why not? Please like, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series, as well as any of my great horror content beyond this series. With that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're enjoying this Masters of Horror Season 1 review series. And as always, stay scared. Bye.